Okay,
You
well,
work the same shift? No, you work a straight shift every day that you work.
Yeah, I'm a school bus driver.
Okay.
oh, okay. Well, like I said, well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk more about that off to the side because that's a issue we can't deal with in this group here because we want to help you. That's why we're here. I'm not here just sitting here just giving some good information. We want to help you however we can, if we can.
But I think what I'm hearing you say, I want to help you. But I think we become responsible to one another.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. We want to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I changed it. I said we
Okay.
in a collective sense because
And that comes with trust, that comes with time.
yeah, exactly.
And that's break bread together.
Because it's not irreversible. There's no habit that you cannot reverse. It may take time because you've done it for a lot of years. There may be some undercurrent things there that are on your mind or whatever it is, but we'll talk more about that. I'm going to talk to Doc about that. Okay, let's watch I think it's our last video because we're almost done. And this is one of my favorite ones talking about how vitamin D and it relates to cancer.
Welcome back on this morning's Health Watch. Could the key to preventing cancer be just a vitamin away? Our own Dr. Jennifer Ashton is here with some new research on prevention and also some warnings about what not to take. Good morning.
Good morning.
There was a study out of the UK, incredibly promising. A daily dose of vitamin D can cut the cancer risk by 25%.
That's right. This is arguably, Maggie, the most important vitamin to all of our health in terms of preventing diseases and actually potentially treating some existing conditions. In my house, believe it or not, it is the only vitamin we take every day. And I think people better get used to it. It's not going away. Every day we hear more convincing research.
And is it enough just to take it in supplement form, or do you have to get it in foods or sunlight?
Actually, 15 to 20 minutes of
There's
sunlight.
such a thing as too much of a good thing. Is that the same with vitamin D?
Absolutely. In very high doses, this can be toxic, so you should check with your doctor. They can do a blood test to evaluate your level, and people are finding now that actually you want a higher blood level, between about 60 and 100 is the number. If you take vitamin D in supplementary form, healthy adults can probably take 2,000 to 3,000 units a day. Check with your doctor though, because they might want to monitor your doses.
What are some signs that you may be deficient in vitamin D?
Well, there are a whole group of people who are at risk for low vitamin D levels. Older people, if you're pale-skinned, overweight, ironically dark-skinned, and those who live in northern latitudes can actually be deficient.
Okay. Actually, I got 2 more videos that we're going to watch that talks more about it, but that it says here, these are just a few things here that, who may be at risk. But, as she said, have your levels checked. Don't just go into self-diagnose and start taking it because it can become toxic. So we have a couple more short videos, and that'll be our presentation for the night.
And now the new study linking vitamin D and cancer in a way we've never heard before. Doctors know that low levels of the vitamin can lead to a host of illnesses, but now research suggests that vitamin D might actually hold the key to fighting cancer. John McKenzie has a story.
The studies just keep coming. The evidence mounting. Low levels of vitamin D are now linked to so many illnesses, from breast, colon, and prostate cancers, type 1 diabetes and asthma, to multiple sclerosis and heart disease.
I even think of vitamin D as the fountain of youth, if you will, in that it allows us to age well.
At least that's the hope. And nowhere is the evidence more compelling than here in the laboratory.
So all the work here is on vitamin D?
Yes, we've got
Professor Joellen Welsh has spent the last 25 years studying the powerful effect of vitamin D on cells.
These are human breast cancer cells growing in a flask.
Taken from a woman who had breast cancer?
Yes.
Now watch what happens when you add a potent form of vitamin D. Within just 4 days, half those cancer cells are dead.
It looks like the cancer cells have basically shriveled up and died.
The longer they're treated with vitamin D, the more of an effect we see. What happens is that vitamin D enters the cells and it triggers this cell death process. It's similar to what we see when we treat cells with tamoxifen.
A drug used to treat breast cancer?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's a very dramatic effect.
That was just the beginning. Researchers here then took human breast cancer cells and injected them into mice. Tumors quickly began to grow, but when the mice were treated with vitamin D, the tumors began to shrink. Look, this one was reduced to half its size. The one here disappeared entirely. Similar results have been seen on colon and prostate tumors in mice. The real test, however, remains. Will vitamin D work this way in people? Other lab work is revealing how vitamin D can actually improve the way cells function in the heart and in blood vessels.
And the number one killer is vascular disease, and vitamin D makes our arteries more healthy, basically. It allows them to age well.
Preliminary, tantalizing research on a common nutrient with so much potential. For Good Morning America, John McKenzie, ABC News, Albany, New York.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. So question number 10 is, low vitamin D levels are a risk factor also for type 2 diabetes. That's a lot of health conditions all tied into just this one vitamin. And what I think earlier they said 100 million plus people are deficient in the United States alone. And my assessment is because most of us are indoors all day long. That's why I sometimes just have to break away, get away from the desk and just walk around the block a few times just to get outdoors. So sunshine aids in the production of insulin. Here it is. 1 hour of exercise outside in the sun can result in the production of nearly 5 units of insulin.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I had a friend who was type 2 diabetic, but she liked to walk a lot. So she would have to actually make sure she took maybe only half of her metformin, because if she got the walk-in, then she would drop really fast because she got more insulin than she needed. So I saw it proven. I was like, okay, wait a minute, I don't even need to take my metformin today because I'm out here in the sun walking an hour. I've seen it.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's probably why it explains a friend of mine at work says she walks every morning before because she has to get work at 11, so I guess the sun is up right in or something. So she says she walks every morning. She's borderline diabetic. She has to take a pill though still.
Right.
But she said when she walks, she does feel better. So.
And there's a lot of reasons. So yeah, that's just amazing. That's why it's one of my favorite topics. So we're going to watch our last couple of little clips here.
A study by Australian scientists has found a link between type 2 diabetes and vitamin D. The research found people who don't produce enough of the vitamin are at risk of becoming diabetic, and it's estimated between a third and a fifth of our population is deficient in vitamin D, which is produced when the skin is exposed to sunlight. Peter Ebeling is from the University of Melbourne. He's also Professor of Medicine at Western Health. He was involved in the study and he joins me now. So Peter Ebeling, if you are vitamin D deficient, how big is your risk of developing type 2 diabetes?
Well, we were actually able to look at this over the 5-year study where there were about 200 incident cases of diabetes. So for every 25 units that the vitamin D level went down, there was a 24% increase in the risk of getting diabetes, and that was independent of about 10 other risk factors that we looked at. So it's a significant increase in risk if you do have a low vitamin D level and other risk factors for getting diabetes.
That's where I be at. You probably around the walk.
Okay, so let's watch another clip here.
When a nasty flu struck California's Atascadero State Hospital, Dr. John Cannell made an interesting discovery.
I know my patients were exposed to influenza, but none of them got sick.
Why? One reason could be that 30 of Cannell's patients had been given vitamin D on a regular basis. That got Cannell thinking more and more about the vitamin's benefits and safety.
Child's never gotten into a vitamin D cabinet and gotten poisoned. That's happened hundreds of thousands of times with Tylenol or aspirin or other things.
Medical writer Bill Sardi says if vitamin D were a drug, its benefits would make it the most popular ever.
Because we're talking about diabetes and hypertension and bone diseases, osteoporosis and arteriosclerosis and cancer and autoimmune disease, and the list goes on.
Scientists found that list is so long because vitamin D actually regulates cells, systems, and organs throughout the body.
It works by turning your genes on and off, very, very basic function. So that's a very important fact about vitamin D that distinguishes it from any other vitamin. It's a steroid hormone. It's in a class by itself.
A major question and area of controversy regarding vitamin D is sun exposure. So health investigators hit the trail looking for answers. Doctors have observed that where there's less sun, there's more cancer, flu, and even autism. For instance, there's more of these diseases in winter, which has less sunlight. And there's also more of these diseases the further you get away from the equator, because there's less sunlight the further you get away from there.
Even here in sunny California, very few people get enough sun. to make sufficient vitamin D in their skin for the best of health.
Down in San Diego, you can make it year-round, but even then, in San Diego, in the wintertime, you have to go right out at solar noon. There's only about a 2 or 3 hour period where you're going to make any substantial amounts of vitamin D.
But wait a minute, won't this possibly lead to skin cancer? Most sunscreen companies provide products that block the ultraviolet B, or UVB, from the sun. Those are the very rays you need to produce vitamin D in the skin.
Now they admit the UVA rays that the sunblock lotions allow to get in are the ones causing the cancer. So they let the one that causes skin cancer in, and they block the one that prevents it.
Statistics show skin cancer rates and deaths have actually risen since the sunscreen campaigns began 30 years ago. Cannell recommends keeping your time in the sun moderate. 15 minutes in a bathing suit during summer is plenty. You don't want to age your skin or cause damage from a sunburn. Not everyone agrees. The American Academy of Dermatology website finds it appalling that anyone in good conscience could make the claim that intentional sun exposure for any length of time is beneficial. Then there's the issue of darker skin, which naturally screens out more of the UVB rays that make vitamin D. Their blood levels of D are about half that of lighter skinned people, making a connection with the diseases that shorten their lives.
Heart disease and hypertension and stroke and cancer are the same diseases that have been associated with vitamin D deficiencies.
So it may not be surprising that vitamin D deficiency affects as much as 3/4 of the populace, especially as winter takes its toll on vitamin D levels. That depletion could be remedied and possibly reduce the need for flu shots.
Vitamin D activates your immune system, causes something to be formed called little peptides that kill bacteria and viruses without antibiotic resistance, without side effects. We can use it in very young infants and pregnant moms.
And not only help fight osteoporosis, but strengthen teeth as well.
Instead of using fluoride to harden our teeth so there's no soft spots where the acids can then eat into our teeth and cause dental decay, we can use vitamin D. It's more appropriate, it's more natural.
And D appears to boost athletic performance.
There's just clear evidence, especially in the German literature, of choice reaction time, balance, muscle strength, endurance, all improve with vitamin D.
Which may explain why senior citizens on vitamin D are less likely to fall and hurt themselves. And cancer? Sardi says in a new book that a major reason not to be so fearful about the disease is vitamin D. A key U.S. study in June found it provided a 60% reduction in cancers.
Canadian Cancer Society immediately told all of their citizens, begin supplementing with at least 1,000 units of vitamin D. American Cancer Society, mum's the word.
In fact, here is video of how vitamin D helps zap cancer cells, like the one to the right of the arrow. But 2 weeks ago, the National Cancer Institute released a study indicating vitamin D doesn't do much against cancer deaths. NCI normally prefers the type of study done in June, but Cannell says this new study fits their bias against vitamin D. Even at that, the new study did show the vitamin's effect on the number 2 cancer killer.
People with the highest levels had 4 times less colon cancer than the people with the lowest level. I think that's pretty important.
So what's the best way for you to get the vitamin D you need? Not from food. Even fortified milk provides so little that it's trivial. Taking supplements is a far more predictable source than sunbathing, and the only source in winter for millions. Experts suggest the best daily intake is at least 2,000 units for most kids and 4,000 for most adults. Yet the government recommends only 200 to 600 units depending on your age.
Just the whole thing, when you think about it, is just patently absurd. And the government's been recommending this now for 10 years, and they refuse to change they refuse to even look at the science.
Cannell says he and his wife have taken as much as several 100,000 units for a few days when fighting off colds or flu. His usual daily dose is 5,000 units, a dozen times what the government recommends for him. He finds it a religious connection.
Here, the Lord is saying that there's a system that makes this much vitamin D this quickly, thousands of units a day from sun exposure. And here's the government over here saying you only need a couple of 100 units a day. So you can sort of ask yourself, who do you want to believe? God or the government?
Galen Tethrow, CBN News.
Now you notice that there's more questions than we actually had in the presentation. These are not actually on the presentation, so I'm just gonna give you the answer to these real quick, because that's the end of the slides. But wasn't that some very compelling, very just
Heavy
wow,
duty stuff.
just from vitamin D. Okay, so number 11, the answer for number 11 is cholesterol. No, it says cholesterol concentration is higher in the skin than other organs. Oh, here's my answer key. Oh, here's my key. It is true. Number 12. While sunlight is the best way to stimulate vitamin D production in the body, and supplementation is a poor substitute, however, for many, it may be necessary to supplement due to climate and atmospheric changes.
Due to what now?
Climate and atmospheric changes, as well as geographic locations. So poor substitute, necessary, climate, atmospheric, and geographic are the answers. Everybody got that? You can now know your vitamin D levels without going to the doctor. True or false?
False.
False. Okay, a good healthy level for vitamin D is above 60.
Is what now?
60. Number 15, blue light is the light available 30 minutes before sunrise and before sunset.
Is that, we haven't learned the best time. We talked about.
For getting the sunlight?
Yes.
It was actually in your fact sheet I'm going to give out to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
And then number 16, let's wrap it up here. Studies have shown that when taken through the eyes, blue light improves neurological functions, including alertness, mental performance, and helps to beat seasonal blues. Okay. And number 17 is the answer is true. So it's SPF occurs naturally in coconut oil, raspberry seed oil, and carrot seed oil. So these are just some extras. Make sure I pass it up because it's time for our cooking demonstration. And the ladies,
time to eat?
Yeah. Yeah, so you have more good information. I mean, like 2 pages full of information. So if you forgot everything we said, pretty much everything that's in the presentation is on the sheets here.
Thank you.
Okay. So any final, any thoughts, anything before I let the ladies come in? All right. So how do you want to? No, because I said and then that's why. So what we have to this week, because last week, well, only one of you wasn't here, but this week I'll let Miss Shirley talk about what she's going to present you today.
I have made for you breakfast cookies. They're called chocolate peanut butter breakfast cookies. And so they are something you can fix ahead and put in a baggie and have them ready like before work. If you just need something or even to snack on during the day. It's loaded in protein and the oatmeal gives you phytonutrients. So basically it's a nice cookie that we want you to try, and we have the recipe if you want to.
No, they both have a plate too?
No. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, they're good. It's like, what are you guys having?
Exactly. Thank you. That's so good. Oh, it's made with banana for sweetening and honey and peanut butter, the oats.
Was it carrot powder?
Yep, carrot powder.
Yeah.
A little bit of water.
Which doesn't have the caffeine in it, so that's the part. Yeah.
Do y'all know what carrot powder is?
Caramel.
Carrot.
With a B, yeah.
Yes. Sorry, let me get my beer. No,
No, it's my hearing. I could have gotten it out.
Well, there's plenty if you want seconds on that. Miss Edna has also made a breakfast item for you. You have to explain it a little bit. Like, do you want me to help? Larry? Larry?
Put it on me again. Well, I guess you need to dish it up and then. And pretty much the second item is just another breakfast item. We're all familiar with oatmeal. But not just oatmeal, we tried to add a lot of stuff to the oatmeal to really make it power packed, to make it filling. You know, not just bland, because someone I don't like oatmeal, it's bland or it's not much to it. Well, we've added in our oatmeal figs, or not, is it figs? Dates, I don't know, okay. Dates, which is high in fiber, but it's really, it sweetens it naturally. We have, I think, some chopped up pecans. Is it walnuts?
Walnuts or pecans? Pecans.
Yeah, pecans, chopped up pecans. We put, instead of using a lot of water, and this what makes the oatmeal kind of thicker and gives it more of that hardiness to it. We, instead of using a lot of water, we use one of our coconut milk, or you use almond milk. It gives a little extra sweetness and makes it a little thicker, so it's a little heartier. Then I think we put some cranberries, some chia seeds, some ground flax seeds, which are all good with fiber, which are good with your omega-3s, which is good for your healthy fats.
Here's extra milk.
So as you can see, I like to call it loaded oatmeal. That's what I'm going to call it. You know, it's because a lot of people, they'll just eat oatmeal, they'll put a few raisins and that's it. But no, we loaded it with a lot of power-packed protein, fiber, grains, nuts, seeds, things that you need for healthy bone function. Because let's face it, because when you have fiber, the reason why a lot of people are hungry, and I'll say this as a little extra throw in here, and we'll talk a lot about this when we get to our nutrition segment. People are hungry not because they're not eating enough. They say in today's society, we are a generation of overfed people but undernourished. We're eating a lot of stuff, but your body doesn't crave pizza, chicken. It craves nutrients. Your cells are looking for vitamins and minerals and macronutrients and micronutrients. It's looking for that, and when you don't feed it that, the body is constantly crying out for more. So you just go back and keep getting a lot of simple carb foods that are just giving a lot of calories, but no nutrition. So we loaded that oatmeal with a lot of stuff. So you could eat that, maybe throw some bananas in there extra, or a piece of toast with some nut butter.
Chia.
I just said chia. Oh, I forgot, and sesame seeds. And did you put the millet in there too? Was it millet? And millet, which is another ancient grain, one of those hearty, healthy grains. So that is a very loaded oatmeal. I mean, you have your oats, your grains, your chia, your flax, all those things that are high in protein and fiber. And your fruits, which also have fiber and nutrients. So when you eat a bread, and so you're just eating a small bowl, if you get a nice hearty bowl of that, you'll feel full. You'll feel satiated. You'll feel that feeling of, okay, I don't need to snack 2 hours later. You know, because when I was growing up, I used to eat the little sugary cereals, and an hour later, I'm hungry again.
I seek out steel cut oats because they have more texture to them, and I like that. It just feels good.
That's your preference.
Texture is really important when I'm eating.
Yeah.
So what kind of mix? It's called steel cut oats.
Yeah.
Instead of the little flake that you see, they're small little. They're not seeds really. They're like nuggets, and they're hard. Sometimes you have to cook them a little longer, but the texture in it will complement this wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
And texture, I don't know why texture is important to me, but
no, I mean that's exactly.
How long do you cook yours?
You can get it. All these you can get it the 3-minute one, 3 to 5 minute. But the one that I get that's natural is 30 minutes.
Okay. I'm not sure about the time. I've got some. I cooked it, but it's like I cook it